What do we have here?
I actually got one of the most important documents in rock and roll history. The contract between Brian Epstein, who was the manager, and the Beatles, creating the partnership between the two of them.
You have the original Beatles contract.
Yep.
That's a big wow factor right there.
What's really unique, it had to be signed by two of the parents, James McCartney and Harold Harrison, because at the time, both of them were under 21.
All right, what you have here is pretty, I mean, it's pretty incredible. Obviously, you want a lot of money for it.
Yes. This is the holy grail of rock and roll. It's an agreement between Brian and the Beatles, basically giving him 25% of all royalties. I came back because the last time I sold Sgt. Pepper and I got a good deal, and hopefully I can get another good deal this time.
The articles hereby appoint the manager to act as their manager throughout the world for a period of 5 years from the first day of October 1962.
And the agreement basically states what Brian Epstein's cut would be, including vaudeville, concerts, movies, merchandise. The Beatles actually got paid a lot less than he did.
You got a ridiculous management amount. You got 25%.
Exactly, that's what this says.
But the entire contract wasn't going to be valid until Brian Epstein actually got them a record deal.
That is correct.
Brian Epstein was a genius. He basically transformed the Beatles from an unknown band playing small clubs into the biggest rock band ever. When he died, he couldn't be replaced, and it played a large role in the Beatles breaking up. To actually have his original contract in front of me is surreal.
Where'd you get it?
I got it from the person who actually bought it in Christie's in 2004. Basically, I have the original receipt from Christie's, and I also have who's verified this particular document.
Okay.
It's got all the official seals. It's embossed, and it's in the original folder. It's never been altered.
Okay, how much do you want for it?
$1 million.
That's a lot of money. I'm gonna call my guy. I just want to make sure that everything is 100% cool before we start talking price. You know, I can imagine someone spending a ridiculous amount of money to make a brand new one of these.
I totally understand.
All right, hang out. I'm gonna get him down here momentarily.
Thanks.
This contract is legendary. Some people consider it the most important document in the history of rock music. If this thing checks out, I will do what I have to do to get it.
Now that's cool. I've heard about this piece before. It's been well documented. People want Beatles stuff. Autographs, lyrics, you name it. You know, the stuff they wore on stage. The Beatles are always number one. In terms of their signatures, I mean, they're still the most sought after. It's not uncommon to have them together, but on a contract, that's a pretty rare piece in itself. The contract is well known throughout the Beatles collectible world. It was one of the most significant contracts in the history of rock and roll. It's a thing of legend. I can't wait to get my hands on it and really take a look at it in person. I'm gonna start off at the top with John Lennon. I'm just looking for live ink. I'm looking for overlapping.
And the overlapping is where it gets darker.
Yeah, it starts to get darker. You could see one pen stroke go over the other. I see no reason to believe at all that this is printed, it's not a stamp, it's not a copy or anything. These are definitely live signatures on here, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
That's a very good thing.
Absolutely. We have some really early signatures of the Beatles. So what I've done here is I've tried to pull out some super early stuff that I have on file. What I'm starting to look at here, letter formations and overlapping. The Harrison signature is just, you know, very early signature for him. John Lennon wouldn't sign John W. Lennon as a signature. He'd never do it for someone in person, but this is a pretty unique situation. But I'm still seeing a lot of the same similarities here, especially in the double ends here. So these are all very good signs.
All right. So is it real?
I mean, based on everything I've seen here, there's no question that this is genuine.
That's awesome for me.
Yeah, it's all cool. I mean, what's it worth?
I'd put the value of this piece right at around $500,000.
Okay, he's asking $1 million.
Well, I mean, the record just sold a month ago for $300,000. You're talking about a record.
Right. The one thing you have to be cautious of is when you look into the history of the piece. In 2008, I saw another sale of this piece. And that's kind of where I'm not sure. And then 2009, it was supposed to be offered through a raffle.
What happened was the gentleman who did own this basically made a deal to raffle it off if it raised enough money, and it didn't raise enough money, so that never happened.
What about the 2008 auction?
It didn't sell. When that price came down, it wasn't high enough for the seller. That's what happened.
Okay, so it didn't meet reserve.
Exactly.
Okay, I think I got enough.
Okay, well, good luck on that.
Thanks, man.
It was awesome to see the piece in person. I mean, it's a great piece of rock and roll history. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I think I gave a pretty good estimate of where that piece is priced at, but the seller is entitled to put whatever value he wants on it.
All right, so you're still stuck at $1 million?
I really got to get $1 million.
I don't see it.
Talking about history here.
You know, and when you start talking that money, there's very few people in the world that have that much money.
I totally agree.
Okay? If I bought it from you, I have to put it in auction. So they charge me 14, 15%. I mean, you're not gonna like my price. I mean, I pay you like $350 for it. You know, I have to look at it. I think I could probably get $500,000 for it.
You know what? That's an incredible offer, but I'm really gonna have to stick to $1 million. I could probably take it to one of the major auction houses tomorrow, and I really believe that I could probably get $1 million reserve on this.
Okay, you take the risk. I would go 350. That's cash right now. If you don't take that, I would wait for another auction.
I'm gonna have to decline on the 350.
Good luck with it.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much. I'm disappointed I couldn't make a deal. I really wanted to sell it today, but I really had to find the right buyer. Today just wasn't it.
Hey, how can I help you?
I would like to sell my vintage Beatles vinyl collection.
This is all the Beatles.
Every one of these albums are the Beatles.
Woo! I'm wondering how long it took you to amass this collection.
I've collected between 12 to 15 years.
You got any garage sale finds in here?
I actually do.
Were they underpriced?
They had it for $5. I said, it's not worth $5. It's worth much more. I stopped by the pawn shop today to see if I could sell my 80-album vintage vinyl collection of the Beatles. If I get my asking price of $26,500, I plan on restarting a new collection.
That's pretty cool. You mind if I take a look?
By all means.
The Beatles are like the biggest rock band of all time. I mean,
They influenced popular music as we know it today.
I think they influenced music, period, as we know it today.
Yes.
When the Beatlemania swept America, it was crazy. Everyone loved these four clean-cut guys.
You have no idea what they meant to the world with their music.
Yeah, you know, I kind of do because, you know, they're timeless. Kids younger than me still go buy Beatles t-shirts.
100%.
You know,
Yes.
this music isn't going anywhere.
Every single one of their albums contained multiple hits.
That is true. These guys had a list of hits longer than anyone, you know, in history. I see you have 3 copies of this same album. Is something different here?
They're different variations. What's unique about this album? It is a club issue record. You had to belong to the Beatles fan club.
Well, I can see a little difference on this one. It has a black dot up here.
That is a true first pressing 1964 version.
And then,
This one is a later pressing. It is a stereo pressing.
okay. A lot going on here for just one album. What else do you got in here?
Meet the Beatles is one album, but there's actually 19 variations.
Whew.
When they were producing these albums, they were in such a hurry. The first 100,000 copies were printed without who produced it. And this one here, this is a true first pressing of the Beatles' second album, still in its original cellophane. It is in near mint condition.
All right. This is a massive collection here. How much are you looking to get for it?
This collection, as it sits right here, I would like $26,500.
Okay. This is a little bit out of my realm. I'm gonna need someone to come down and give me a value on them, and maybe we can come to a deal.
Okay. I have absolutely no problem with an expert coming to look. I know that this is vintage and is very collectible.
So, this is his Beatles collection I was telling you about.
Oh, wow. Quite a collection. Do you mind if I take a look?
Please do.
All right.
What are you looking for?
Pulling out some of the cherries, man. Like this one right here. This appears to be a sealed white album. They numbered the original ones, as you can see here. The lower the numbers get, the more desirable they get.
Okay.
We also have another variation of the white album with a hype sticker.
What's that mean, a hype sticker?
Listing some of their hit songs, which you very rarely see on the albums, because when people got them, they would open them up, the shrink wrap would come off, and then, you know.
Put them on the record player.
Yep, exactly. Whenever they're sealed, the value, it can shoot 10 times, 15 times the amount of an open near mint copy.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible. Hey Jude with the hype sticker and sealed. I can't say that I've ever seen this many sealed albums
Really?
That are original by the Beatles. Where the heck did you get all these?
A lot of lucky and a lot of patience.
What kind of value do you put on the whole collection?
It's by far probably one of the nicest Beatles collections I've ever seen. With the white albums that's sealed, I see it go for $1,000 to $1,200. Hey Jude, that can be $800 to $1,000 just because of the sticker and it being sealed. As a whole collection, looking at 30 grand retail.
Wow, 30,000. All right, well, thank you.
This is a great opportunity to own a piece of Beatles history. The collector's market for Beatles records are always growing, and sealed records with hype stickers are constantly going up in value.
Is this music to your ears?
It is.
All right, so taking in everything he said, this is a great collection, but it's gonna take some time to resell, so I'm gonna offer you $15,000.
That's too low. They will go lickety-split. They are that desirable.
I'm gonna have to sell these in an auction style setting. I'm gonna have to take a little bit off for the fees, so I have to leave a little room to make some money. What are you thinking?
I don't want to beat you up. I know you got to make your money. I'll come down quite a bit. I'll take 25,000. That's 5,000 profit for you.
That's more than I could do still. Would you take 17?
That's still a little low. How about 23.5? That's good money.
I really want to buy this from you. It's just still taking a chance. My absolute final offer is gonna be $20,000. I can't pay you a penny more. I wish I could. I can leave with a good chunk of money here today, and these albums are gonna see a good home.
That's a fair price. So,
All right, let's go do some paperwork. I'll write it up. So which one did you buy for $5 at the garage sale?
I've got something here for you to see.
Okay. It's not a machine gun or anything, is it?
No, no.
Whoa.
It's a Beatles guitar. All signed by the four of them.
That's really cool. Where did you get this?
I got it in '87, but it was signed in '64.
I mean, if it's legit, it's absolutely amazing. You got a ridiculous amount of money here.
I actually got it from a customer. I was in a wholesale T-shirt business, and his brother happened to be involved with the Beatles on the tour. He was either a promoter or set up locations, I don't know. But he took the guitar and had it signed. I've had it for over 30 years, and I think it's a real deal, and I would like to sell it because I need the money.
That's pretty amazing. I mean, it's the Beatles. I mean, they really are considered the most iconic rock band ever. I own Beatles stuff that's worth a hell of a lot of money, and I've sold Beatles stuff for a hell of a lot of money. The fact of the matter is, you rarely, if ever, see all four autographs on one thing. A signed Beatles guitar from the 1960s is practically unheard of. But that doesn't mean it can't exist. If this lady's story actually checks out, this would be a mega find. Have you ever had this looked at by anybody?
Yes, by many people.
Okay. This looks absolutely amazing, but this happened a lot with the Beatles. You know, girls would come up, they'd want their autograph, the roadies would go, I'll go get something signed for you, and then they would go, you know, behind a corner and sign everything, and then come back out, try and get a girl's phone number. It wasn't signed by the artist. And to have something signed by all four of them on a guitar is rarer than hen's teeth. It really is. How much do you want for this thing?
I want $100,000.
Your number's close to being in the ballpark. It really is. My big concern is, I mean, we have big, bold signatures of the Beatles on a guitar. I've just never seen that before. So I really want maybe a couple people to look at this. So
I'd be happy to have somebody look at it.
hang on for a little bit. I'm gonna call some people.
Good. Appreciate it. I've had some experts look at it. I think it's good. And so, of course, I want to see somebody else's opinion.
Can I whip it out,
You
as
may
they say
whip
in
it
the
out
movies?
whatever you want.
So what are you concerned about?
I'm looking at a guitar that's got these autographs on it. I just, alarm bells go off in my head.
Well, you're quite right to be suspicious, because if you had a Beatles guitar signed in 1964 in America, it would be $250,000. Easy, easy.
Okay.
If there is out there a Beatles guitar signed by all the Beatles in 1964, it's fantastic. It's great.
What do you think?
Anybody signed anything in 1964, they'd be signing with a ballpoint pen, not a Sharpie.
That's not really true. In 1940, the felt pen was invented in Japan. In 1962, felt pens, the flare was brought over here.
I remember those. They were colored ink, and it didn't stick to anything like this.
No, they were black flare pens, black felt pens in 19.
Okay.
And
All right.
that
We'll
you can
debate
look.
that. We're going
That
to
you can look up on the
this all
internet.
the way
On the
down.
internet.
So what do you think of it?
Does that mean that the Beatles were carrying them around?
No, but the person that got it signed maybe had it. That's what I'm saying. This guy, he was involved somehow with their tour.
My opinion on this is it's too good to be true. It is very, very rare to see anybody signing guitars. In 1964, they signed autograph books. All the kids carried little autograph books to have signed. Nobody thought of signing anything else. And so, Rick, I think we need to get an autograph expert on these autographs.
Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Warwick has given me a lot to think about. But if this thing turns out to be real and I let it get away, I'll never forgive myself. So I got to get Steve down here to check out the most important part of all, the signatures. Warwick looked at it. He had a real problem with the pen.
Okay.
So would they have this pen in 1964?
They used a lot to mark, like, jerseys, game-used jerseys on the inside tagging and stuff like that, so it wouldn't come off. This definitely looks fiber tip, so that could also be a Sharpie. But as you know, Sharpie wasn't around until post-1973, 74. Now, I see an inscription that's on here. As you could see here, they'd sign Love from the Beatles or All the Best. This has love. But you could see here where, McCartney wrote this, and he ended up writing that a lot. 3 X's underneath. Occasionally they would do that, especially for girls. So that was a big thing. And this is the Lennon signature. And, John Lennon didn't all the time, where his signature didn't always look like an O. And this is a real pronounced D. Now, sometimes he rolled it a little. You see Ringo Starr
Right.
would typically put a star. That's also something that kind of sticks out right here. So there's some things on here that I find pretty interesting.
Okay.
Interesting good or interesting bad?
Well, that's the thing. When I take a look at the whole thing, I've seen this before. Especially have seen this inscription before.
Okay. So what are you saying?
It's not real.
Oh,
Okay.
And I know the guy who did it. And he's a pretty famous guy. He's been doing this for years and years. He's kind of out of the running now, but mostly targets albums, album pages. He likes to try and fool people.
So it's the same forger doing lots of stuff?
Yeah. This is a real pronounced E on here,
right.
but it's too pronounced, and someone screwed up here. So.
Okay. So it's definitely not the scissors.
None of them?
No, here, the Ringo Starr is something that, when Ringo did his underneath his signature here, this is a beautiful example of what he used to do. This is not.
You're breaking my heart.
I'm sorry, it just works out that way.
That's
Good to see
Thanks,
you.
man.
Thanks, man.
sorry.
Nice to see you. Take care.
All right.
Any line of business, there's always people. Someone wants to take advantage of you, but in the autograph business, it's prevalent. So you gotta be careful. You gotta know what you're doing. Before you invest a lot of money in something like that, have it checked out by me.
I'm sorry.
I am too.
Okay. I would have loved to have bought it, but
Well, no, I wouldn't want to sell it if it's not real.
thanks for
I'll
coming
just
in.
keep it, hang it on my wall.
Okay.
Thank you. The fact that they're telling me that it's not real doesn't necessarily make me really believe it's not real. I still have hope. If you lose hope, what have you got?
What do we have here?
What we got here is a sunburst guitar and Ringo's signature, George Harrison's signature, John Lennon's signature, and an unused concert ticket from August 18, 1966.
Okay, where's Paul's signature?
Right there,
Oh, on the guitar. All right, where did you get it?
at the Playboy Mansion.
So what were you doing at the Playboy Mansion?
Well, I really can't say.
I don't want to know then. Okay.
I got the memorabilia at a charity event. I'm hoping to get $25,000 today for my piece. Bare minimum, $12,000. I just don't have any room on my walls anymore, and I've got to do something with this.
That kind of bass was really popular in the 1960s because there was some added electronics to it, and anything in the 60s that was high-tech they wanted to have on stage.
Yeah.
Young guys usually like the higher tech things, and as they get older, they realize that the low-tech stuff is generally a little better.
Are you saying this because you're getting old, or?
No, I'm just, from all my years of experience, that's what I've noticed, all right? So you think this could have been one of his personal guitars, or?
Absolutely.
Because if it was actually one of Paul McCartney's guitars, it makes it worth a fortune.
I like to hear that.
I mean, just Lennon alone is something pretty cool. I know his last autograph that he ever signed before he passed away went for $70-some thousand.
Awesome. Love that.
Beatles fans are insane. They will pay crazy prices for any Beatle memorabilia, especially if it was owned by one of the Fab Four. If this signature is authentic and it was actually played by Paul McCartney, we're talking some big numbers.
So any idea of how much you want for it?
Well, I got it appraised in 2005, and it went for $25,000.
Okay.
I'm looking at something like that.
Do you have any paperwork on any of this stuff, or?
No, not really.
All right. It was a charity auction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of times, some really rich guys drop off some really nice stuff there. Do you mind if we have some people come in and check this stuff out?
I'm game, you guys.
So we got to figure out if all the signatures are real and if it was one of Paul McCartney's guitars.
Right.
All right, so I'll call Jesse and you call Steve.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, shop around and buy something. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm really hoping that everything checks out today so I could get top dollar.
Sir Paul, awesome. So what are your concerns with this one?
I was just wondering if there's any way to tell if it was actually played by Paul. I mean, she got appraised for $25,000. There's got to be a reason why.
Yeah. This is the style he played. Hofner was manufactured in Germany. Before they were famous, they played in Germany and Hamburg and all that. Paul probably got one there because it was $30 as opposed to $100 or whatever, you know, for the Fender equivalent.
And he played those for a long time?
He plays these still to this day. You know, the Beatles, probably one of the most popular bands to ever be. I don't think there's a guy in the Beatles that didn't leave his mark on rock and roll. I really don't.
Was it played by Paul?
You know, there's a couple things that would let you know if Paul had played this. First off, he played Hofner's. This company is J. Trucer, make a lot of replica stuff. Whether Paul played it or not, I would probably say Paul has never played this. Being he's left-handed. This bass is strung right-handed, it's set up right-handed. I mean, they didn't even take the little packing felt that they put underneath the bridge off of it. So it was probably for a charity or something like that. He probably just grabbed it and signed it and handed it off.
Is there any value because it's on the wood versus anywhere else?
From what I know, it is better to actually have it on the guitar as opposed to the pick guard because guys will take pick guards and get them signed and later buy the guitar and just throw it on it.
All right, thanks for coming in.
All right, man.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Good to see you. If the signature on it's legit and all the other signatures in the display are legit, she's probably sitting on a pretty good chunk of change. I mean, two of those guys are no longer with us. You can't get their autograph anymore.
The guitar wasn't played by him, we know that for sure now. But if all the signatures are legit, I think we really have something. So my one friend is gonna be here in a little bit. He literally knows everything there is to know about autographs.
Okay.
So if they're real, he will tell me they're real and we'll figure out a price.
Awesome, let's do it. Well, that was not the information I wanted to hear, so I hope that the signatures really check out.
Wow, that's a great display. The Beatles. I think if you collect autographs, and you collect music autographs, and you want the best rock and roll stuff, you better start with one band, the Beatles.
I just need to know if they're all legit. I know a Paul McCartney signed guitar is a pretty rare thing, so
Yeah. Usually Paul McCartney keeps it really simple. Doesn't usually sign guitars in person, won't sign pieces of paper, usually keeps it to albums, CDs, or DVDs.
Whoa. So then a guitar would be really out of the norm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are they real?
Guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up known examples of their autographs that are genuine. Some of the stuff I've actually seen signed in front of my face. So I go through each one. I'm able to determine if they actually signed this piece compared to my stuff here.
Work your magic, man. So who's that?
This is John Lennon, and I'm kind of trying to get in here and look and see what kind of style signature this is, because the Lennon is the most difficult autograph to see here. Very lightly signed, not great contrast. This is Ringo Starr from 2003. And Ringo would sometimes add the star, and sometimes he would just not do it. Here we have a photo signed by George. Okay, guys, looking at all this, comparing my examples of what I've got here, the known stuff that's real, looking at the piece here, in my judgment, sorry, guys, it's not real. It has many problems and many issues. And one of the first ones I notice here is when I look up and I see George Harrison. This George Harrison signature is something I would refer to as almost spurious. It lacks resemblance to an actual autograph of George Harrison. George Harrison had this beautiful autograph. You could read every letter. When I look at George Harrison on this piece, I don't see George Harrison. When I look at Ringo Starr, I see the wrong angle. I see the wrong star formation. Basically, how he rounds things and how he makes a signature is completely wrong. Someone really didn't know what they were doing when they signed either of those guys. The one that really catches my eye is Paul McCartney. Getting Paul McCartney to sign a guitar is nearly impossible. Just a general non-used Hofner bass signed by McCartney on the body of the guitar is $25,000 to $30,000. Easy. In my judgment, this piece doesn't pass. And then the last one I look at is John Lennon. I have no idea where they came up with that style of signature. Unfortunately, when I see this piece, I see kind of a piece of manufacturer memorabilia.
Okay, well.
As they say, my work is done.
Okay,
Thanks,
have a
guys.
good one, man.
Good to see you. This was pretty much a no-brainer. If someone's appraising something at $25,000, $30,000 and they're taking half for it at a charity auction, you know there's an issue with the piece.
You know what? Hang it on the wall.
And tell people it's real.
All right,
Thank you.
Yeah.
thanks for coming in.
Thanks anyways, guys. Nice to meet you.
You too.
I'm so pissed right now. It literally felt like I was just robbed of $12,000.
Hey, how can I help you?
I have a unused Beatles ticket from Shea Stadium, 1966.
Did you ever listen to the Beatles?
They were a little past my time.
Well, they weren't past your time. I mean, they were out in 1961, 62, and you were like
21, 22.
Yeah, you were even old when you were 22, weren't you?
Yep.
I came down to the pawn shop today to try to sell my unused Beatles concert ticket. You know, I was hoping to get $1,000. My wife's birthday's coming up, and she really wants to go to Paris.
Okay, where did you get this?
You know, I got it at a sports show.
Do you know much about the ticket?
Well, I just know the Shea Stadium held 55,000 people, and it wasn't a sellout. 11,000 tickets weren't sold.
It's a neat ticket, too, because it's got the Beatles on the ticket. Basically, they were the epitome of modern rock and roll. I mean, they changed the scope of music. They really did. The Beatles didn't come to America. They invaded it. After their first U.S. tour in 1964, they basically owned the American music charts until they broke up in 1970. They are still the #1 selling band in history. This was one of the last times the Beatles performed live. It was the height of Beatlemania. I mean, this is definitely legit, but do you know where these were originally sold?
The tickets?
Well, no, I mean this whole plaque here.
I'm really not sure.
These were originally sold on a television shopping channel back in the 80s. The promoter had 2,400 tickets put in this little plaque. They came in this exact frame. It's not a real rare Beatles item.
People love the Beatles. You can sell this tomorrow.
Yeah, everyone loves the Beatles. There might be a lot of these tickets out there, but they are from the Beatles. So a collector of rock memorabilia would love to have it. How much did you want for it?
I'd love to get 700.
That's not gonna happen. The thing is, it's not that rare. You know, I'll go 175 bucks.
Oh, you're killing me.
I'm not killing you, I'm just stating the facts.
You know, I was hoping to take my wife to Paris for her birthday. This thing will sell tomorrow, and you know it.
It's one of the more inexpensive Beatles things.
Okay, so $200, that's your bottom line, right?
No, I'm 175.
Ah. 175. How about 180? Make me feel good.
All right, what the hell, 180.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, I'll meet you right up front. We'll write it up.
And we settled on 180, and I was a little disappointed with the deal. Maybe my wife is gonna have to travel alone.
Hey, Brandy, what's up?
Hey, Rick.
Brandy is an old friend of mine. She's got a great eye for art, and she always brings me cool pieces she finds around the country. What do you got here?
It's an original Denny Dent painting, John Lennon.
Denny Dent's pretty cool. He's one of my favorite artists. Bill Clinton actually called him into the White House. He painted Clinton playing the saxophone.
Really?
I didn't even know that.
I like art.
I decided to come to the pawn shop today to try and sell my John Lennon painting by Denny Dent. I have an online business. I sell a lot of items that I find at estate sales. I would love to get $7,000 out of this piece.
So you just picked it up in an estate sale?
Yeah, I travel a lot for my business, and I'm always finding unique items at estate sales.
Oh, okay. It's really cool, and you can definitely tell it's a Dent just because the way it's painted. He had a really distinctive style. That's definitely his signature down there. He's the first one who did the whole performance art, high-speed painting. Literally, he could paint something like this in probably like 3-4 minutes.
Really? And he used music as an inspiration.
He would just put on a song and paint a member of that band.
If it was John Lennon, he'd play like a Beatles song and then paint it. He'd paint the entire picture in the course of the song.
Awesome.
Denny Dent used to do a speed painting routine all over Vegas, and he did it for a long time at a bar called Carlos Murphy's. Believe me, he wasn't considered a great artist by the guys getting drunk at the bar, but his stuff screams pop culture. Even non-art lovers dig it, because it really holds up. That's 96, that was right at his peak. He was getting tens of thousands of dollars for every painting he did.
Wow.
First time I ever saw him paint was like 1981. He used to get like 20 bucks for him.
Really? Wow.
Denny eventually came out on top. He painted in front of hundreds of thousands of people at Woodstock 94. Some of his paintings go for 25 grand or more today. What'd you want to do with it?
I'd really like to sell it.
Okay, how much do you want for it?
I'd like about $7,000 for it.
You know, a few years ago, that's probably what I would have paid, but I have a Hendrix right over there and a Stevie Wonder back there, and they've been sitting a while.
I think it's a great picture. I think he put a little bit more heart into this.
I'll give you 3 grand for it.
I can't go 3 grand.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't. 6?
I'll tell you what, I'll go 4. $4,000 is a fair price. I will probably get like 6 out of it.
But it's beautiful, and it's a Denny Dent.
I know it's a Denny Dent. It's not Picasso. So 4,500 bucks, we got a deal?
Deal.
Okay, all right. You want to write her up, chum?
Yep.
I'm thrilled that he offered me $4,500. I actually purchased the item at the estate sale for about $1,800, so I feel like I made out really well this time.
How can I help you?
I have some original John Lennon artwork to sell.
The John Lennon?
The John Lennon.
Come with me.
Chum,
There he is.
I told you, get off that thing. So what do you got here?
Some original signed, very rare John Lennon artwork for you.
Where did you get this?
I happened upon that at a small thrift shop. It was framed. You can see where it's tanned. Somebody was really proud of that. It hung on their wall a long time.
I just want to check this out one more time. You might want to get some gloves if you're going to handle that.
Good employees are hard to find.
The artwork is original John Lennon 9-panel self-portrait. I want to sell it because I think it's worth about $20,000. I may go down a little bit, but not much. If I get the full amount of money, my birthday's tomorrow, it'll be a great birthday present.
It's definitely cool, man. John Lennon, he actually went to art school for a while. He did these doodles and things like that. And, you know, in the 70s, he realized people would pay him money for it. Then he started doing the really large ones. I mean, he did full, like, portrait-size ones. And almost all the art I've ever seen from him is like this. It's his little doodles. And then he started doing limited editions, and most of the ones you see today, they're from his estate. They were printed after he was passed away. There's something neat about it, though, because there's probably 20 artists in the world where you just look at a picture and know that's them. So, you're looking to sell it?
I am.
And how much do you want for it?
$20,000.
$20,000.
That's a known 9-panel self-portrait that he did, you know, and so.
Okay. He did a lot of art. There's a lot of his stuff out there. You have a little problem with this one, though. This is Kodak computer paper. He passed away in 1980. This type of paper didn't exist in 1980. So, it's cool, but it's 100% fake.
Glad I didn't pay much for it.
How much you pay for it?
$10.
You know what? You never know. If the next 50 of these might pay 10 bucks a piece for every one of them, maybe one of them will be real. Okay. Have a good one.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.
See you later, dude.
Thank you. I'm really disappointed to hear that my artwork by John Lennon is actually a John Lemon.